I'm not letting that go. Come on, more cat. Do something with him. Holy shit. That's more like it.
Play all you want. He really didn't play far. He's still just on the floor. Probably move the mic to a place where I won't knock it. Yeah, I got these sunglasses. Which they got like a really thick rubber rim around. They're like sports glasses. They're like the ones that like if these glasses were like rainbow, then you'd end up being a sex offender.
Yeah, you look like Dr. Disrespect or EDP 445.
Yeah. If the lenses were like oil spill, just alright, yeah, I thought they were broken then. And I got these. Which I mean they're so covered in dust I actually can't see anything through them or like even more.
Yeah, so the problem with those ones, I see another sex offender.
Women glasses.
I see a different sex offender. I see Jimmy Savile.
And I think Dharma almost as well, right?
Yeah, but it's
similar.
You have similar hair to Savile. If Jimmy Savile had ginger hair, I'm not saying anything. I guess Ozzy's probably the most. Ozzy or John Lennon. I mean, neither of them are great. John Lennon's worse.
A fucking collection of sex offender sunglasses.
well, neither of those are sex offenders, I suppose.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Well, I mean, actually, John Lennon might. There's a very good chance he might have been. Obviously, he was a Beifweeter.
What the hell is that? Just a weird way of saying gay person?
No, just flip the not the numbers. Flip the letters. I said Beifweeter. I said.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
They partook in the old English tradition of after footy loss, back from pub celebration. So are we here? Are we on?
We might be.
You're a cheeky fella.
Well, I really did. Like I said, I really didn't. I wanted the cat to have a starring role.
He always ends up having a pest.
Yeah, I do actually have like 8 minutes of footage of just one of them, both of them actually, because there was a time when you basically just rested your camera in front of their box,
stupid idiot house,
their fortress.
Yeah,
their feline fortress. Yeah, I mean, I think it's healthy to have a more generalistic discussion before one buries their heads in the sand.
Yeah, although at least the sand is going to taste nice. Can't say that. So
why do you let your child eat sand? Because I don't like him. Because
I once went to the beach on a school trip, and Mum made it was like a really nice roll, like something you would get from Subway, but like actually homemade, so it would be nice.
Was it a sandwich?
Well, it certainly was when I dropped it in the fucking sand.
And did you try to eat it still?
It immediately fell out, and I did. I'm like, this looks so nice, and Mum spent so much time on it. I have to at least try it, and then and it was just like. And so you crunch and the sand gets in between your teeth and it is the most rancid, horrendous tasting, like feeling situation. And I got really sad because I was also then didn't have any food.
Yeah, it's like how it's like how there always seems to be a fucking deep scan in the sandblasted corridors.
Yeah,
I'm not crazy, am I? It's like how you get. It's literally like how you get a basic mining expedition, egg hunt, and refinery. In either salt pits or the crystalline caverns, they're like always there. There's also always an elimination in either the Zerwield or the sandblasted corridors. I swear, there's always a normal, unmutated deep scan in sandblasted corridors. Always.
Yeah, I'm really not sure if I've like done one that isn't in the sandblasted corridors.
I know I
want
like to.
5, maybe 6.
Yeah.
Now.
So here's the funny thing: Tyler's actually played more than me.
Mr. Play Guy over here. I still haven't done Duck and Cover though.
So neither have I.
Sure
neither have I.
Out.
Yeah.
Mainly because, and I think we'll say it because we haven't done it. I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is one of those ones which won't be fun.
Oh yeah,
and that's the goal, right? Like it's like shield disruption, which I have a bad story about recently, but I'll ignore it. But like it's just like it's just.
Pardon me.
It will be miserable. It is a warning in the simplest sense, right? It's a warning where you have nothing to gain. It is just harder, and especially since every single one of the enemies that would fall under the projectiles category, I despise with every ounce of my being.
All of them?
Like,
do you despise Vartox scale brambles?
Acid Switter. Honestly, Vartox, they are probably the roughest. Well, and the new 2 projectile, stationary ones, they are rough. I think, like the fucking big spew, like Lardo.
He's Lardy.
Has wiped me instantly. Like I jumped out of the pod, reckless abandon. He spat, and I was caught in the middle of it, and I got hit by 3 or 4 of those bombs and just went down instantly.
Yeah, well, that's fool's bravado. I don't know. I mean, look, imagine I because I'm sick and twisted. I want to combine Duck and Cover with maximum enemy aggressiveness, because that increases attack speed and projectile speed.
That's evil. That's evil time.
Even better, if you can get it on a double warning with Mac Terror Plague.
I guess you
just
could,
really
right?
pushing the boundary. Well, yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. Well, I don't believe there's any combinations for double warnings that cancel each other out. I don't think that's a thing.
But no, cancel each other out. But have you ever had 2, like a Mac Terror Plague and a Rockbox one, or like have you ever had like 2 ones that spawn more enemies than like ambushes? Like, is that? I guess there's only been Mac Terror and Exploders. Have you ever had Mac Terror and Exploders?
I don't know. What the fuck?
I mean.
So this is. I want to look stuff up now, but my laptop's so far away from me at the moment. It's really difficult because we decided to be further away. I can't do this. I need my laptop closer. Hello everyone. Hi.
Worry.
Start mewing.
Because I don't know. I've seen some of the double warnings. I've not done any yet, even though my daily missions wanted me to. But yeah. What's the yeah?
I'm just affirming the existence of that challenge.
Yeah, it does exist. Seems like that was the only one. Although it's interesting that it gives you scripts, right? Because
yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it? Because
nothing, right?
No. There's always something that gives you a script. So yeah, so what it doesn't though, not this time. So I mean, I can actually cast my mind back well enough. So in season 1, there would have been an industrial sabotage challenge. I think. Although I think it was more specifically to retrieve the data cell itself, or the data rack. I don't know why they had it be that specific, but basically, it was complete industrial sabotage challenge, get script. And then season 2, it was rival presence warning. Season 3, it was Lithophage outbreak warning. Season 4, the same, because fuck season 4. And then season 5, it's transitioned out of that because they don't want to. They said something about not wanting to pigeonhole people into specific mission types. So deep scan is obviously there, but it can just be one of the ones where it's like play
one of the 2.
Yeah, play one of these 2 missions. And then so the script earning challenge is now double warnings, which is much smarter because a double warning, it's like, it's like an elevated level of challenge to get the script, but it can be any mission potentially. It can be any mission type, and there's a lot of variety there.
You don't have to play it on Hazard 5. So if you're not capable of doing a normal double warning, you just play it on like Hazard 1. and it will still get done.
Yeah, double warnings are like a proto Hazard 5 Plus almost, in that they are a level of difficulty beyond the normal conventional limits that have existed for a while, but obviously you can have that. I mean, look, I don't think I've ever played a double warning, though, lower than Hazard 5, because that doesn't seem right. I mean, if you don't have the stones, I mean, what's the point? I mean, I know there is a point.
To get a script.
Yes, that is the point now. And that's going to, I guess, encourage people to do that, which is walking back somewhat. One of the ideas behind double warnings is that they are supposed to be a sort of a separate, elevated tier of difficulty that you could only have to engage with by choice. Obviously, you still have the choice of ignoring it or swapping it. You know, but there is still now an encouragement to do that. But is that because there's now a new that role is being filled by a different system? I would say yes. I would.
It is definitely there is now harder for people that want harder. Plus, I mean, you can always stack it. Maximum has 5+ on a double warnings. I assume that would be a very fun time. But I think you can't not do the double warning because you need those scripts, right?
Well,
like that's
I guess
how it works. So you would have to do it like at least a couple times. Luckily,
oh yeah, yes, you do. Sorry, I just realised what you said. I was like, oh no, you can get them over time anyway. But it's no. The way you get the scripts over time is from the challenges. There isn't enough in the across the
pass or
the pass and the I don't know what they're actually called. I think they're just bonuses, script bonus, bonus script. Bonus
so you would eventually have to do them, which is why you might as well start doing them now. And like a certain someone who I knew just didn't do any of those until like the very end. That's you, Harry.
Me? Yeah, but that was almost like half. That was like I'm pretty sure that became deliberate at one point.
Yeah, you just wanted to stretch out the season for as long as you possibly could, so you didn't do the those script challenges
because I'm an absolute psychopath.
Everything else, yeah. But I think speaking
no country,
of,
no flag. The performance. Well, I mean, I guess we should. I mean, this makes me want to, because obviously we started this podcast a bit flimsily, because I didn't tell you that we started recording. I did want to briefly discuss whether or not we wanted to start with, not necessarily with criticisms, but also, yes, I was going to actually ask if you wanted to start with loadout slots again, because we did that last time, and I think it's fair to say that position has probably been reinforced, but I don't know if it's, like, worth retreading, to be honest, because I don't.
Having now,
remember everything that you said. It didn't change, right, from what you said. Like, even though the last time it was before we had played, the season. But I don't think it's changed. I don't.
Well, one bright side, I realized there is actually more skins I'm not 100% on than I thought, so I'm going to be alright for a while. But having gotten all of Driller's overclocks now, I haven't used the Sludge Pump one, but I haven't got them all. I'm sitting there like, where do I put them? like I'm like trying to like find a place and to switch them out because I'm gonna have to switch out an overclock. And I think I know for the Sludge Pump, the one of the cleans, I think.
Well, yeah, you're going to have to. I mean, I understand because obviously I have the same position, I think, as literally every player, which is that there should be more loadout slots. But you can still your position, your situation where you have to have like a loadout for every overclock can be. Obviously, it's impossible, but it shouldn't be too difficult because you do have preferences and opinions, like not liking Face Melter, for example, and it's like.
Which
or like the flamethrower's ammo overclocks, of which you have a preference because I think the balanced ammo one is like the top as far as you're concerned, and the clean one is therefore not like kind of redundant, and you could potentially swap that one out instead. And
On the
then
right side, I actually, because I have used and have done that, I do know that face melter is going to be what's getting swapped out, because that's the new overclock for the flamethrower takes that by a landslide.
I assume
What
I
the
haven't
face
used it
melter to
enough
do.
because my driller needs to be promoted. For some reason I decided to because I'd still been playing occasionally, even in the days, the few days preceding season 5's console launch, and I was looking at which one of my dwarves is the closest to level 25, and it was driller, and I was like, I don't know why, I'm just gonna just do that for some reason. So I have a driller who needs to be promoted, so I haven't really been playing driller. I have to assume, based on what I've seen from Scorching Tide against a Praetorian, that it should be able to one-shot wardens. I don't know why I'm thinking about wardens, but I think it almost definitely can, and therefore also menaces, or essentially one-shot. Essentially one-shot.
I have used it in one mission. I confidently say that it is already like top 2 favorite flamethrower overclocks. Like, it could beat out my current favorite
compact
because...
feed valves. That's what that is.
Yeah. Because it essentially is the normal flamethrower, just generally, right? You're using it normally. It's just a cool flamethrower. And then a Praetorian appears. And before, I would be like, oh, I have to like set it on fire, then switch to my secondary axes, drills, so on and so forth. This time, I hold X, more realistically, I tap X because I'm a fucking moron, reload, wait until the reload animation is finished, then remember to hold X, and bye-bye Praetorian. Because it doesn't die, like on Hazard 5, it's like left on like, I don't know, a tenth of its health. I'm not sure if the fire would finish it off. It doesn't need to, because a power attack does, right? So it is literally Praetorian appears, boom, 25 ammo, which is a lot, but ultimately it would cost more ammo to kill it normally, and it's gone now.
Yeah, I think it would if you're not comboing it, obviously. I think if you were to combo with the wave cooker, I think it can do it with less ammo. I wanted to, because I did this before, I wanted to once again figure out how many shots you can get. So it's 25, and you can get 525 ammo, which is
on max ammo.
21 shots, by the way. It's 21 shots of Scorching Tide. So that's more than enough, you know?
And I think I would still be down for it if it only hit the Praetorian and the things were consumed on impact. But it doesn't.
Yeah. So this is
because I got like, it wasn't a Praetorian wave, but there was 2 Praetorians and 2 oppressors, which I will say are cool against oppressors. Like, it does not. Oppressors don't give a shit. Like, because it barely does any damage to the actual weak point.
Oppressors are quite resistant to both explosive and fire damage.
Yeah, and it barely hit them. So yeah, it did basically nothing. But then again, a power attack and some Sabata in the back did the rest. But like, the point is that all of them were grouped together. I shot in, the 2 Praetorians were fucking done. They were like, see you, bye bye, and then they just turned into the fartnade or whatever. Right? It was like, I don't know. I never expected the flamethrower to have this. I wanted it. Right? This is what I wanted from the beginning, beginning. But like, yeah.
I mean, it was interesting.
I'm not
going. Yeah, because this is your territory. Keep going if you want.
Yeah. Well, it's because I don't know, I still haven't got it right out yet. It goes a lot quicker, I think. Right? I expected the fires to be kind of slow, like more breach cutter, but it is really kind of just boom, and it's like gone. It's like done instantly. And I used it against the core stone, which was handy. I got that in my mission, and when I actually hit it properly, and like at a good range, it 2 shots a segment of the core stone, which obviously that's 50 ammo, so 2 shot is being a bit generous. But ultimately,
I mean, I think you probably would use more if you were trying to direct damage it with the flamethrower. And it's also quick too. Like, there is an element of like getting the job done quick is a valuable factor to consider. It's just like, if it can put it down within a couple seconds, that's a strength. obviously.
And I'm just glad
sorry, I mean, I assume that you really
itself...
could, because Driller is already good at the core stone, because you can just drill straight through it, right? So you can just drill straight through it, and then immediately two-shot, or satchel charge, and then just immediately two-shot it, the segment with Scorching Tide. You probably get it done pretty quickly with barely even having to think about the crawlers.
Well, it is. Well, I mean, I don't know if we want to segment to that, but they are actually rougher than I thought they'd be. Like when I was doing that, dicking around, like fireballing the core stone, they mauled me. they did not like find it funny, and like 4 of them
they
jumped
didn't
me,
find it funny. Yeah,
no,
it's a good way of putting it.
Like this is something. 4 of them jumped me. Wasn't there like never a creature on the surface that leaves the surface? Unless it ragdolls. Wasn't that something?
Well, kind of, because it's difficult to say, because swarmers do actually jump, but they jump in a weird way. They do jump to attack you, so it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
but there's still something about crawlers.
I tell you, I guess it's different. Is because I only noticed this on like co-op, like someone else throws it. But, you know, with the little fellas, you freeze them and they just die instantly. If they jump, it doesn't matter. These ones, there was just a crawler in the sky frozen.
Yeah.
It was just there. It wasn't falling. It wasn't doing anything, because it's not like it was flying, right? So it didn't get pulled down.
That's good. That is, yeah, and that might be a difficult thing to code around as well. We don't know. But I would say if it is possible, that probably should kill them, right? Like, just as a combat advantage. Yes, yeah. Like... you should get that. You should get that advantage. If you manage to freeze them in midair, sure.
Although you're still in quite the advantage with a frozen target in the middle of the open, like in the sky.
Oh yeah, they're not exactly. Unless you just ignore them, it's not like they're not dead. They're gonna be dead as long as you don't ignore them for some reason.
But it was just, I was kind of like, oh my god, there's just an enemy frozen in the sky, and then it kind of like, why hasn't this happened before? And then I realized there's not really anything that does that. Or at least the leap of those boys are insane. Like seriously, like surprising that they got caught in the air, caught lacking. But point is, I really love the flamethrower overclock so far. I've still yet to really deal with it. I doubt much will change, right? Like, I think ammo is basically guaranteed. You need max ammo on it, both for the ammo tiers. And there's something that I've thought of. It actually makes a good argument for using the other tier 5. The explode on taking a 50% chance. It's direct damage, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think so. I mean, this is something I want to say about the overclocks. We probably might end up making a point about them. You know, it's not this is not a 100% hit rate overclocks. I think Tyler can attest to that immediately, but I'm going to stop him from doing so. But the one thing that has been pretty clear is that they have been very comprehensive in having the overclocks be aware of the weapons that they're on, basically. Especially the cryo cannon one, actually. They actually had to rebuild like certain modifications to work with it, and therefore they were refunded to you. So I would make the guess that it probably does work how you want it to, because it seems like most of the overclocks understand what they are and the weapon that they're on and those kind of things. I don't think those kind of things seem to be quite clean this time around. Like, there aren't many gaps in that sense. So it's very likely, but probably quite an easy thing to test as well. Probably quite,
yeah, I mean, like, if the shots hit a grunt, they're dead. Right, I'm not sure about slashes and guards. Slashes probably are also dead, depending on, I guess, how much of the wave, right? But like, if you shoot into a horde, anything that might survive, hopefully, all of them that, like, 50% of those that died might blow up enough to kill them. And if that is the case, then that mod might actually just really help in making it like guaranteed massacre if you let it off. Because I like try to like chain them for a while. This was just like a 1-length like egg hunt, and I kept them in this spawn when I thought there was tons, and yeah, it just deleted them. It is really good. Ultimately, it is still like a lot of ammo, and I feel like I probably could have done the same thing by just spraying a spray of But I feel like once out when I should and shouldn't use it, it's going to be like super free. Like it's going to be like just like, you know, massacring tons of like grunts with just the normal shots. A Praetorian appears dead, and then continuing along like. And the only concern is that I will probably end up forgetting about the secondary too much and completely caning the flamethrower.
Yeah, I mean I suppose that's kind of weird. I'm just thinking about how good it could be on things like industrial sabotage. Probably quite good because the flamethrower is already like look, the flamethrower, as long as you're using heat radiance, which obviously you might not be now, but as long as you're using heat radiance, you can take care of the turrets like and patrol bots actually easily. As long as you're willing to get up close to patrol bots, they will be burned by heat radiance in like a couple seconds. The caretakers that I'm thinking about, it probably works well against the caretaker because it's like a spread of projectiles, and they would probably hit all of the segments at once. And also, flamethrower dealing more damage to the caretaker naturally to help it. It probably does a real number on the eye if you can get close as well. So you're probably in safe hands, even on industrial sabotage. I'd imagine.
Basically once I had actually I didn't. I got that while I was promoting my driller, so I didn't even get to use it for a while. Same with the sludge pump one. Like I got the overclocks.
Oh, I thought you meant. I thought you said you got it like as you promoted, like as one of the rewards, which would have been pretty cool.
No, but I did get the minigun one, which is probably the one I wanted the least of Gunner.
It's the one I'm most interested to try because I'm pretty well. I mean, I've already used mortar rounds, and I'm pretty confident about cluster charges. What's it called? Rotary overdrive. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, you wanted rate of fire, so it's got that going for it.
Really, not the point, though, is it? Don't. Just like I don't know, cooling, but yeah, I mean. I don't know how much we can't really say much more on the overclocks, really, right? That would probably be like whatever the next podcast is.
Yeah, I definitely
really don't.
I do want to do a podcast. I think on overclocks because I've got some thoughts.
Either that, or it'll be like a tier list, right? Like a tier list of just the new overclocks.
Well,
so it would give us.
That's the thing. We're kind of meant to be doing that anyway, so maybe we don't need to podcast. I don't know. It's only because I've got some ideas. Actually, you know what? I guess I could do this now. And I guess really it's not an idea because the chances of this coming to fruition now are very, very low. Insanely low, in fact. But looking at what they've done with the overclocks, I think they could have benefited from a more elaborate approach to adding overclocks. Oh shit! Hold on. Anyway, as I was saying, I think that they had an approach to making new overclocks, and that was make something that changes the feel of the weapon, and that's it, basically. And there's varying degrees of excitement from each one. I think that they really would have benefited from accepting that it would have been a good idea to also add at the same time another one per weapon that was very, very basic and just not any category, more so clean or balanced, that just tinkers with a stat that another overclock hasn't done yet. Just a very basic one, no added flashy effects. I think that would have gone a really long way, especially for nerds like us who can get as much out of a basic overclock like that as out of something exciting like Scorching Tide. I think that would also have made the addition of new overclocks feel much more substantial, in a way that would not have been difficult to do. Because I understand why you couldn't add 2 to 3 per weapon that are like this, simpler ones,
or even the secondaries as well, really would have been like impressive to have done all of them.
Exactly. What the overclocks I'm talking about would have been less work than adding 1 per every weapon. I mean, if it was like 2 per primary, and they were like a very clear divide between ones that are exciting and ones that are not. But and I guess the argument from them could possibly be that's quite arbitrary to just come up with a basic overclock just to give a weapon one. And I would say it could be arbitrary, but I do think there is at least one. There is room for one of those overclocks on every weapon. Another basic overclock, I believe.
Kind of feels like behind the current overclocks could have been why add more overclocks unless they like change the weapon, right? And so it would have been like, why add like a +3, I don't know, in the chamber on the boomstick, unless it changes the weapon, which it would for that one. But I don't know. I think what's here is at least interesting. You can kind of tell that this is where not most, but like it's where part of the actual effort went into, right? Like these overclocks are like proper. Unlike some of the other stuff. But
what do you mean by that?
Well, yeah. Well, having played it now a little bit, people complaining about them being lazy, I still think is bullshit and unfair. But I do kind of realize how much of it is kind of. I mean, the stuff that I wanted, sure. Like the Ebonite, right? Very good warning. Love it, in fact. But ultimately, none of it is new, right? And it's like that's good. That is good. That's what we wanted. But
okay, go on.
It's kind of like more often than not, it's stuff like that. As in, and I think the main offenders or main offender is the egg secondary objective. That is the most blatant of the lot.
It is. It is. I like it. By the way, I like having to. For some reason, I like having to destroy 40 glyphid eggs. But if I were to point out something, and I'm going to use the word lazy here in the sense of lazy, even if they put as much into it as possible, it still comes off as lazy because they're even kind of fucked, like lighting wise. I don't know if you've noticed. They show up in the dark in a way that doesn't make sense. It doesn't look like they're just illuminated. They're like kind of a little bit buggered. There's also the fact that those eggs in the first place, by the way, even the normal sized ones, are actually just downscaled dreadnought eggs. Don't think about that too much. Or maybe you should, because that's probably what they are still. It's just the fact that most of them just die at some point. But they are just like smaller, retextured dreadnought eggs, and they've just been downscaled again, but not even recolored this time. Because they are still just swarmer eggs, but at like the very initial stage. So yeah, I mean, so that's the kind of thing where that is very much so. It's equally reasonable to ask the question why not, as it is to ask why as well. Like, there's no real reason for it to exist, in a way. But at the same time, it was probably such little effort that it's hard to argue against that effort being put into it because it's so little. So I have I don't take issue with that kind of thing, and I don't think you do either.
It's because the barnacle, even though I think that still is like not entirely fresh, like it does seem like it's like the maggot model and like system kind of changed slightly, but the Baja Barnacle is actually pretty fucking good. I think as a secondary objective, I really quite like it. Just like looking up in the ceiling, it's like the gunk seed, but without the annoying carrying the gunk seed part. You look up at the ceiling, you see a bunch of those small glowing dots, and you just kind of rain hellfire down upon them. Or rain them up at them. But the Baja Barnacle is a pretty fun and good secondary objective, if a bit icky. Like, ooh, they're like weird things that squeal. But
they are pretty gross. I mean, I feel as it might be the corpse feeder model. I'm not sure.
There are like little nubbly bits to it, so it's definitely not a 1-to-1.
Well, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that there's a thing that falls out of them. It's like a barnacle, and then like, I guess the thing that is actually the barnacle itself, the creature, like falls out, but then it just dies immediately. I guess to make it a bit more of an elaborate and unique second objective, it would have possibly made more sense for it to, you kill it and it falls out onto the floor, and then you have to, and then it starts like squirming away, trying to run away from you, and then you have to like step on it basically. And it could even like be like literally step on it, just like if you walk over it, it dies, something like that. I mean, because that might make it a bit more
maybe.
fun.
Although I think it's implied that like you shoot it down and it just falls to its death.
Yeah,
just like
because they're that
explodes on
frail.
the ground.
Because they're that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter how far they fall, though, does it?
No,
they
some
just
of them do
explode.
get quite close.
Yeah, so that's
But
actually that is an interesting aspect of season 5, and that can be used to explain basically how they managed to get in everything that isn't the headlining features, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like literally everything that isn't the deep scan, the core stone, the overclocks can be put down to like very and the enemies. But there's even a little bit there. If you suck, if you're an arsehole, you can use the same arguments against the enemies. But apart from those things, you can boil it down to just very economic uses of what's been there before. Thank fucking God, though, because that's the shit that they weren't bothering to do in every other season. Every other season, except, I guess, there are elements of all of them. Season 4 is the worst offender, but it's always been the main problem. They were more focused on just doing new stuff and not building upon what was already there. And the fact that Season 5, like, Ebonite Outbreak, it's called Ebonite Outbreak, right? Yeah, it's Outbreak. Is awesome in what it does. It's not that sophisticated, but it's sophisticated enough. And I noticed, like, that it is almost... It could end up being... if we were to redo the warning tier list, I'm thinking about not redoing, but possibly doing both mutator tier lists in one video, because we've already we did the anomalies and the warnings fairly recently, so I'm thinking about combining them, updating the mutators tier list, maybe putting them together as well in one big mutators list.
Yeah. That'd be the new.
But Ebonite Outbreak is going to be quite high because I realized something. Yeah, it is a hazard, but it has a level of fun that it also doubles as basically giving you an advantage as well. Yeah, if you are caught without the power up, you're gonna not be great against Ebonites. But even the grunts are fairly easy to deal with just your pickaxe anyway. But you just have your molly or whatever deposit point you have just spewing out power ups, and you're basically on a constant berserk, and that's kind of lit, So
it does what some of the best like warnings do. Ultimately changes the experience of that mission like constantly.
Yeah,
right?
Blood Sugar did as well, by the way. And Blood Sugar is going to be fun in any context that amplifies the amount of enemies. That was a really good first mission, by the way, that we did.
Yeah, it felt really season 5. Like update had just dropped, and there was just tons of it going on. But I would say Blood Sugar. Yeah, I'm surprised it's in the state that it still is in. Like, I think it would be fair if enemies only drop to 1 health per. Right? Like,
have you played any? Have you played any others since that first one?
No, but like
it's really it's really hard to gauge because Swarmageddon adds a lot of swarmers.
Sure, but like I don't know, like enemies are not doing much more damage than they immediately heal back. Like if you just like kill them like close by or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I like it because I hate red sugar as like a system. So this way I get to stay alive, which is nice. But I'm shocked it hasn't been like decreased. But I can only assume it is because they can't change how much health you get per hazards. But on the lower hazard, need to give you that, you will die. So it kind of trickles upwards, I think, really, and you end up with like hazard 5 or hazard 5 plus more enemies.
Yeah, well,
you basically become immortal.
It's a weird
health there is.
It's a weird modifier that actually makes the game easier the harder it is. And that so that really depends on whether or not that's the concept behind Blood Sugar, because I think it probably wasn't, to be honest. They often run into these things where the things that they add do take on a life of their own aside from their original intention. I don't think the intention was to make a mutator that makes the game easier the harder it is, but I kind of like that as what it is now. I don't hate that idea. I think it's kind of fun. Just to have it's an anomaly, that's kind of what they are. They have an excuse to sort of do weird shit. And let's be honest, secret secondary is not going to be that exciting.
Not seen or done that yet either.
No, and I'm not like going to push myself to do it either, because it's like I kind of get it, you know. I get the idea.
Although I think it will be interesting walking into a cave and there's like, I don't know, Baja Barnacles and gunk seeds on the ceiling or something like that. Like I think having like bulu caps and the fucking flowers. Like,
I bet you'd love that. Yeah, a bulu caps and a pocket blooms.
A harvester's dream.
Dystrum and fossils.
The most fun objectives.
Yeah, I think someone asked if it can like potentially spawn Dystrum on any mission type. I don't know. Maybe it can. Who gives a shit about Dystrum? Who gives a shit? Not me.
Well, I do. It starts appearing everywhere. Well, it won't be everywhere. It'll be in those missions, which I've not even bumped into yet. I've only been doing assignments. We've had the season assignments, and I have my promotion, and now I've got my gunner promotion. I haven't really had much freedom to explore all the other facets of the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be creeping up on being locked out of classes soon, because I basically any time I have played it actually since we streamed, I've just been doing double XPs as engineer. Which means I'm just getting ever closer to him being level 25, and therefore, having to do something else, having to play as someone else. And I haven't been avoiding the assignment on purpose, because I guess you finished the assignment, the first one, or I didn't stop yourself. What?
And the second one.
There you go. So I guess I really shouldn't be holding back. But look, I'm doing double XPs because I have to, because I need to, take advantage of the promotion tracker.
Yeah.
And it's there now. And that's kind of, so far it hasn't activated my brain in the way it did when it was revealed to me, I suppose. But that's kind of how it was always going to be. It's kind of like, it's there now. It will probably become much more encouraging when I actually do a promotion, and I see that number go up. I haven't had that yet. That probably needs to happen first.
I think which isn't relevant to season 5 entirely, but it also kind of is. Having just promoted Driller, there is no way, shape, or form people can still be complaining about the overclock grind. Like having now finally, being back into the experience of getting overclocks, getting things with stuff, the actual pace. I have not done the deep dives.
Exactly.
I have not done the assignment because I've still not had the time. But I've gotten 4 overclocks just from existing. I mean, I had some cores spare previously, but now the promotion assignment for the first time ever has given me, which I was to my system when I saw it. I'm like, there's not just 2 matrix cores and a random ore. Is a blank core, an overclock, and bubblegum on Driller. And I'm like, oh my god,
a weapon skin which you like for some reason.
I think if there is armor that goes with it, I really want to make a look with that.
Is there?
If there is, there probably isn't because they're incompetent. But no. It's incredible, Harry. You need to experience the adrenaline of promoting in the new system and actually having stuff to gain from it.
I guess I should get on that quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already got another double XP lined up. It's actually, this is funny. One of the missions that I did yesterday was an industrial sabotage by choice, double XP, and lithophage outbreak. So I did an industrial sabotage with rockpox on it. In season 5. There was a core stone in that mission though as well, so that was actually really fun. That was a completely interesting thing to happen.
Core stone. of getting core stones are like higher than I think the events have ever been.
Yes.
Like these things, minimum every other mission. Jesus Christ, hello. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
More often than not, they're there. No, it's good.
Sorry, hold on. I just want to point out quickly once again my weird little anecdote about doing missions. I also, before I stopped playing last night, I selected and started another double XP mission. It was a massive mining expedition with lithophage outbreak. Double XP, and I got a few minutes in, and I found a rival comm router, and that's where I left it. So there's just weird shit happening with that kind of thing. But yeah, the core stone is very common. Doesn't matter though, does it? I guess the main reason is it's probably the most optional an event has been. Kind of. I mean, look, most of them are right. Most of them are. The corruptor really made the mistake of not being optional, basically. And then obviously the prospect is a bit funky in that it's a moving thing that can you can accidentally trigger and therefore if you do it by accident, then you have to do it. Meteorites can be quite obtrusive, especially the little ones, especially the little meteorites. But honestly, prospect to data deposit, as much as we hate it, at least it doesn't force you to do anything. And then the comm router also doesn't force you into anything either. But the core stone is so unobtrusive but also attractive. You know, it's quite small, really, in terms of the space it takes up. It's not something you activate, like you activate it, you mine it out. You have to you have time to consider if you want to do it, even after you started activating it, like really. And it's just there for you to interact with if you want, and there's no like punishment or any real reason to do it if you don't want to. It's just like, sure, you ignore it if you like. I'm not going to ignore it because I think it's cool. And it's like a weird monolith just sitting in a room. It's like very unassuming, and I think this is why I want to get onto the pretty big praises that we had, I think, of the event and the mission type. And I think this applies to certain other things like Ebonite Outbreak. They actually, not to my surprise necessarily, but I think to everyone's benefit, they got back into the swing of things with season 5. They remembered how good they are at making gameplay content and scenarios, and I'm talking pre escort duty stuff. You know,
yeah. Well, I think that's the thing is like, I wouldn't just say they've gotten better or that they're just as good as they was before, anything like that. I think they just found what they had, right? They found, like, I don't know, mine and kill, mine and kill, mine and kill. That's the gameplay. No, no real like protect, repair. Not much of that. Right, I mean, obviously there's some in the game mode, but like the especially the event, it is mine the enemies and the floating orb thing, mine again, kill the floating orb enemies, kill mine, job done, and then you just pop it in the thing. Like, you don't have to do any too much convoluted stuff.
Yeah, it's very uncomplicated in a way that is how that's the way that the best parts of DRG have always been. They've been very uncomplicated, and they just let the game take its course. They let the very, very powerful like procedural generation systems that they curated over time actually run their course. I mean, that's Deep Scan, obviously. It's it's a very, very basic mission, really. And here's the thing, like, they have a cinematic quality to them, like a heightened level of drama, right? That pretty much all the seasonal stuff has had, and even Escort GT has had. But the difference between those missions, the difference between those missions and those events to this mission and this event is that like that dramatic level of like that cinematicness is just it's just dressing. It's not the gameplay necessarily. Like the gameplay in like things like Escort Duty, Industrial Sabotage, and some of the events is the gameplay is so dramatic. The gameplay doesn't need to be super dramatic in that sense. the most dramatic thing about the core stone is like the actual visual effects, like the rifts and stuff. Like Deep Scan, the only real cinematic part of that is the drill elevator itself, but gameplay wise, it's actually very simple, and actually quite like laid back almost. But it's still like a crazy like elevator to hell like combat scenario, and it works on that level. But it's not overcomplicated, so you don't feel like swamped with mechanics. Basically, that's really important.
The assignments make you play it like a fair amount. I've played it a little bit now, and it just gives me egg hunt vibes, right? Of just you just hop in, you kind of like you don't zone out, but you just kind of like wander around the cave. Where I don't know if I can guess the exact way it's formatted still, but normally like 3 to 4 rooms connected in like a vague way. Like that's kind of the top area, and you just kind of wander around there, pick up stuff, and then just when and you dig. It's just like it's really as simple as that. Like it is just exploring and mining. Like it's back to that, right? Yep. When fucking industrial sabotage and escort duty, they're very. As soon as you spawn in, here's your objective. Go here, do this, stay here, repair this, do that. Do not explore. Do not do events.
It's too much. It's like just stop. Just give it a rest. And you could almost see like Deep Scan as like because obviously the drill elevator could have easily run into the problem of being like those missions. That part of the mission being like those other things that aren't as great. And in a way, it does. The difference is that it's good, but also the fact you could kind of see Deep Scan as being 2 separate missions anyway, or you could just see the drill elevator. You could just see the drill elevator as being part of like an extended extraction, basically. Once you've scanned the crystals, you then begin like a really long extraction phase that involves riding the elevator down and then going back up.
The thing is this. I don't know, the game mode, the way I kind of see it is inspired by how like the players we played with kind of talk about it like in the chat or whatever, and it's like you do the mission, right? Or like you get the nitro, you get your gold, you get your minerals, you do your events, you find the things, and then there's like, are you ready? And it's like players are like, where there's like, get your resupplies now because you can't get them later. Like it's kind of just like a final plunge into the darkness, and it just seems really cool.
You're talking about like the flow of the mission, and it's like even better than that because obviously you have that, but as soon as you're done, you're not actually done. This is the difference between like it and then a mission like Escort Duty or Industrial Sabotage, where when you're done, you do kind of have that moment of peace, but the moment of peace coincides with immediately being given the option to extract. Deep Scan basically forces you to have a grace period before extracting. You get to the bottom, and then nothing spawns until you have like started extracting because you have to collect the Morkite seeds, and it's basically just forced tranquility, basically. It's forced tranquility.
Nice, shiny place.
Yeah, and then you get to possibly the best extraction phase of any mission. After that, forced tranquility, and it's a really powerful flow, like very powerful at providing a experience that is like extremely unique, but also absolutely Deep Rock at the same time. It's like unequivocally, it is like one of the classic missions, but it is completely its own thing at the same time, and that's kind of impressive, actually.
Yeah. It is classic Deep Rock, but I think the best part about it is classic Deep Rock using the modern Deep Rock systems. I think is what I really like about it, right? It used the drill elevator, which is clearly like the drill elevator wouldn't exist if they didn't do the Doretta, right? That kind of thing. It's using, with the crystals in the ground, it's using the like connecting thing, which I think the orbs, for example, that whole system. They're using and then obviously the most biggest important one, jetty boots.
Yeah.
Which are for things. Like jetty boots, which I think if the game didn't have jetty boots, like what would they have done for the extraction? that is a really interesting thought because.
Well, yeah, I guess you have it go back up, but like they wanted to. You'll probably have the drill elevator go back up, but that's kind of difficult because I think they really wanted to have the moment where it drops into the geode. Like you get to where it reaches the geode and then it has to drop in. I think they wanted that. By the way, I think that drop should be a little bit faster.
I think it should be more of a whoa, and like the dwarfs like leave the ground.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you absolutely should. It should be like if anyone is. I'm sure some people played Halo 2. In like the second mission you play as the Arbiter, when you're on the you're basically on this space station. That's in the middle of it's not a space station. It's like in atmosphere of a Halo ring. So it's in atmosphere, and look, he's passed away. Passed away. But like you basically cut the cable that's basically keeping it in place, and then suddenly you're on a massive space station that's gone into free fall. And the moment it happens, it drops like that, and you lift off the ground for like a minute almost because of how high you get thrown up. Not exactly like that, but if you want to take inspiration from something, maybe they already did.
When we were reaching it, I was kind of hoping it would kind of just drop, as it didn't really. It wasn't attached to anything.
Yeah,
but I think it technically is.
The drop feels more like it's just drilling down faster than normal. I think that the drop could be a bit quicker.
Yeah.
It's like drilling through it.
It's like.
Like this thing should not be dropping slowly. It's not a feather. It probably weighs like 4 tons. 4 tons. That's probably a massive underestimate. It's probably
through stone. It should plummet like anything would. Like
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And then with the jetty boots like flying back up, like that extraction is. I wouldn't say it's meant to be difficult because first of all, I think so far basically every time the drop pod is like right there at the top because you're already far away.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's like it's easy. It's easy to get up to the drop pod, but then you still have to wait for Molly, and I think that's very deliberate because it's like it's kind of
have a super jet boots to have fun with for the next like 30
while you get attacked. Basically, it's like it's really well thought out. I think. And I'm really glad that this mission clearly evolved from being basically just the first half into this. Like I was worried at first when we were like on the stream, the big stream, the On the Horizon stream, when we found out exactly what deep scan was. I was just like, oh, like they've clearly added on this drill elevator thing to like the original mission type, and I really hope it doesn't tip it from being a mining expedition to an escort duty. It doesn't. And I'm actually very happy to say the mission type benefits from the drill elevator. It benefits from both. It benefits from being what it is. Like, it shouldn't be like it shouldn't be anything other than what it is.
Just for final one, right? The kind that drill elevator, it's like the last hurrah, like we get through this and we've won basically because it's a tranquil thing underground and then it's extraction with the super OP jetty boots. It's not like the extraction's going to be hard, and I think they know that. So it really is. If you can survive the drill elevator, you've won. That's it, right? It's an endurance thing near the end. You've got all like the nitro. You can't spawn resupplies, which I think I love. The fact you just can't on the thing. So it's really just like you need to go into it prepared for the long haul. Which ultimately, I don't know if you've done some, but I think I've done a couple longer ones now. And
no, I actually haven't done any
for a while.
I haven't done any since actually, and I really want to. I really want to do a longer one, especially one that's not in the sandbox corridors. But yeah.
Impossible.
I want to also, obviously, first of all, it should free fall faster. One other suggestion, and I think that moment of tranquility is really important, but I love my idea of having it just spawn, like core spawn crawlers just start like swarming you once you start extracting, and it's basically like you have to escape from them, because I like those enemies, and I think they deserve a little bit more implementation than just the core stone. I know it's difficult because they're like a rogue core thing, but I don't think it doesn't not make sense when you look at the lore implications, right? Of like the situation briefings. Like this is like the ultimate hubris of Deep Rock Galactic is the Morkite seeds. It's like thinking they should be able to take them because they are clearly like part of the planet's like life force. I'm sorry, Gaia theory is only becoming more and more valid.
But I think it was confirmed when they announced roll call. That's just a fact.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I honestly, no, I don't think so. Mainly because I am not a huge fan of those fuckers. Like I don't know why they leave a pool of evil behind, but they do, and it kills me more than they do. It is unnecessary and quite damaging. And sitting up at either them jumping or the core stone, and all of a sudden you're just getting melted from the bottom down. It's like, I don't know, it's really annoying, and I just don't see why they have like a pool of poisonous blood left behind. Like they are pretty vicious on their own. Like they alone are a good enough threat, but now they're also leaving pools of death, and I just don't understand why. And that has screwed me over a good amount of time. Times already.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
cool. They're cool, but I don't get.
I've seen like a fair amount of people like that's one of the biggest points of contention actually is people finding that event too difficult. And
it has been. It can be for some reason. It wavers. It's really weird. I think I don't know what they're weak against. I still haven't looked.
Electricity. That's what they're weak against.
Right.
So one of the main things, and obviously freezing is probably a good thing to do to them.
Yeah, freezing. Everything's vulnerable to freezing, even fucking rivals somehow. But the flamethrower is what I was using, obviously, when I was trying out the overclock. Fucking did nothing, really.
Really?
I couldn't like.
I assume it would just tear through them.
Well, no, it does the usual amount of flamethrower. Like, I'd set them on fire, and then I kind of shoot them for as long as I can withstand, like knowing that all my damage is essentially, wasted because they're dying anyway. But like, I keep them alive because they're too quick, aggressive, right? So it's like they're on fire, but I have to continue killing them. And they're not grouped up, right? Not in any way, shape, or form near each other most of the time. They're like leaping from all different angles and like shit like that. So I can't like shoot down the horde and then hold it and kill them all. I have to kind of take each one individually and waste ammo making sure they die sooner rather than later. And while I'm doing that, pools of death are spawning below me, and the core is not even getting destroyed if I'm on my own.
Yeah, it's fairly intense actually, that event.
It is. It really, the perspective of it was really warped when we had the
blood sugar. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I guess we're talking about enemies now, though. We can get onto that topic. And I want to start with the Stalker because I really like the Stalker. I really like the Stalker. That's a really good glyphid, by the way. The Stalker.
Good glyphid.
The Stalker. The Stalker looks a lot more like a glyphid, by the way, than the last two. I want to point that out.
Oh yeah.
The Stingtail or the Spreader. I like him. I like the Spreader a lot, but the Stalker is much more of a glyphid. He just looks like one of them. And it works, by the way. The mechanic works. It's concise and comprehensive. Like the invisibility makes sense because the sound is also perfectly implemented, right? It's an enemy that absolutely gets everyone's like fucking sends everyone into shambles. You hear it, you are immediately looking for it. And that's
like
very
the jingle jangle of it or whatever.
Yeah, and that's very important. I think in terms of his actual offensive capabilities, though, I appreciate how simplistic it is. It's not actually aggressive. It doesn't like deactivate your shield and then try and assassinate you afterwards. It's just like get in and get out with like that one quite punishing attack. And I think
it knows that
it knows its role.
It knows that there's other people up after it. And often it's correct. I mean, the only thing is that in a skill disruption mission, not exactly the biggest concern is having your shield turned off.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to argue against that.
No. Or maybe in shield disruption, it should give you shield. I think that would be a very cool system.
Very clever. Very clever.
Yeah, but no, yeah, I think the Stalker. I don't know if you both agree with this, but I think the Stalker is the best enemy they added. It feels the most right and the most balanced and the most interesting. I would say.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think I agree. And it feels kind of weird given that it's basically a lone glyphid addition, which is very uncommon. Like even last season, I mean, look, if you want to look at like the Rockpox themselves, that was like 3 more glyphids, or two more glyphids in Rockpox form, plus the Stingtail Spreader. Glyphids always come packaged together, and obviously the Stalker was meant to be in season 4. But he just ended up being added by just on his own. The only glyphid added in season 5. But the best part about the Stalker is that it basically feels like I don't like saying things like felt like he's been there since day one, because it doesn't feel like that. But he fits right in. With the glyphid. He fits right in with the Menace and other ones like that, basically. It's like, yeah, this is a new piece of shit, but he's also not a piece of shit. This is not unfair. I understand it. Like the implementation of the stealth is really good.
He does feel like they could have had him in the game for like the last 3 or 4 years, right? I feel like that
hiding, he's invisible the whole time.
Yeah. Other than maybe like his technical design, like once he's been revealed, I don't think they used to design things that like detailed. Right, but like as far as like how it plays, it just, I don't know, it feels right up there with like the grabber, right, that kind of thing, where he just kind of comes in, does his thing to screw you over, and then leaves.
Like, exactly.
And comes back later.
It's actually, the Stalker is much simpler than I expected it to be, and I appreciate that. I think, it's not like it's not necessarily the enemies they added last season were overcomplicated. I think the Stingtail arguably was. The Stingtail would make a bit more sense as an enemy that it just pulls you in, right? Like it's a bit the thing. Honestly, I think the thing that makes the Stingtail too much is the fact that it pulls you in and then tries to attack you more. I actually think that is kind of pushes it a bit too far, because enemies in Deep Rock that aren't bosses are much better off just doing one thing. They actually are. I think people think they should have more attacks, but they shouldn't. Enemies are much better off being one-trick ponies in every case, pretty much.
Normal enemies shouldn't have combos, right? I think that's probably a fair statement. They shouldn't be able to combo you with different moves. They're going to have different moves, but I don't know.
They're supposed to combo with each other, which the Stalker would with any other group of enemies. Did you?
I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I did pitch the Stingtail essentially. Like I did want an enemy that pulls you in and then hits you. Bingo thing. I don't think I was correct to add it, really, because I mean, even now, I mean, the Stingtail has been a problem, which is, I know it's not relevant that season 4, but I would still say it's like it is still notable, which I think is better than I thought. Because obviously I'm actually playing the game now, right? Since like before.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that Stingtails haven't stopped being a presence, right? People like.
Yeah.
I was going to say, people talk about the Stingtails like they were over nerfed. That's complete horseshit. And I'll tell you why. Because Stingtails actually match their appearance now in terms of strength and durability. They used to be overtuned. That's like, this thing is like a Praetorian, but it's like the size of a guard. And that doesn't make sense. Now it makes perfect sense. It does what it does very well, and it is quite deadly. Like, even when it gets, like, its actual main attack is pretty strong as well, like when it actually gets to you. But it's quite hard to kill still. Like, it's very armored.
So you would have, if you have something around armor, then it's piss, right? Like, Driller, or just like general explosion, stuff like that. Like, it goes down like a stack. But like, if you're like a scout, you don't have many options, right? Like, Stingtail is going to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it is literally. The Stingtail is actually, to be fair to season 4, the spreader and the Stingtail made sense. They have the same really philosophy applied to them as a stalker. They only really do one thing, and the Stingtail didn't at first because, in my opinion, something else that enemies do is be a tank or not be a tank. That is another function. And the Stingtail was also being a tank for some reason, and it's no longer a tank. It didn't make sense. Like, the Oppressor is an absolute tank, but it's not actually that deadly, like, at all. It's really just there to, like, be a difficult to kill.
Which is why,
like, that's its function.
You kind of think,
yeah.
You kind of think Praetorian, but Praetorians they're not way more tanky. Offensive than a tank.
Yeah. Like the oppressor's role is to just be hard to kill, not to be like good at killing you.
Right?
Not to.
Yeah.
And the Stingtail used to be both, and that didn't make sense. It should just be one thing, and that is destructive in a lethal fashion. Same with the Stalker, and Spreader. I mean, that's kind of what a lot of them do, just in different ways. Destructively lethal. But of course, it's not the only enemy, is it? Apart from the Crawler and the Stalker, there are two Luddites, or idiots who don't move. I think is the Barrage Infector stupid? Why doesn't he just run at you? Why doesn't he just? Can you imagine that? They just popped out the ground and started running on like little legs.
He would be like mostly legs, and they would be absolutely jacked, right?
Or they'd be like really tiny, like weird, like tiny legs.
Maybe I really like the idea that he's like I don't know, like torso, and then like the legs are like are like absolutely huge.
Jesus
and he like
Christ.
steps out of the ground and he just towers over the cave.
I would hate that.
But no, that Lardo is honestly
the Barrage Infector
bloody nightmare.
Kind of a bitch. And I would say it's not like its frequency is off either. There's probably only going to be one in a mission, I've noticed. Like Spitballers, you can get like 3 to 4 in like a big room. Now the Barrage Infectors, in play, one of those might be a Barrage Infector, but it's probably just gonna. I've never seen more than one at the same time, and I think that's wise because they are more than one in of themselves.
Yeah. I thought that either A, the explosions would do less damage, or B, the timer on them would be longer. And neither of these things are the case. And it's really like, I thought it was supposed to be area denial in that like it throws down, you run away, and that's supposed to be the thing that if you don't run away, it gets you. But it's like, if you're in the middle of it and it spews, and if you don't have dash, or even if you do, I'm not sure, like it'll probably fuck you up major style. Right, like like if you get hit by 2 of the bombs, half health, minute, right? Like it is gonna destroy your health, and you can't really kill it before it sends out at least one wave, right?
Yeah, I think
like it's gonna at least get one out.
Yeah, I haven't had too much experience with it. I have noticed it's like it's weird. It might be riding the line of being a bit too lethal and tanky at the same time, because it's very hard to disrupt as well. You can destroy the projectiles, but not really, because there's so many, and you can't stop it.
You're then killing the projectiles or killing the guy who's spewing them.
Yeah,
and if you're shooting the projectile, he's charging up the next shot, right? Like he's
I think the Barrage Infector is one tweak away from being right. I think the Barrage Infector could be one of the only stationary enemy that maybe you should be able to stun. Or maybe you should be able to stun it during while it's charging its attack. Like that would make the most sense if you could actually interrupt it somehow. Or make its lethality a bit more one note. I expected the timer on explosives to be quite long. So you would basically be able to escape. The danger would really come if it's combined with another threat, and it's forcing you out of your position and possibly into other danger.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought it would be.
Make the lethality more one note. So maybe it only really hurts you if you get hit directly, and that's almost a one shot. But maybe they're not actually explosive. I don't know, something like that. I think it's one change away from being
the
well designed.
Shotgun fucking wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would make the shotgun make more sense.
But like, I don't know. I really just think I really assumed that it was going to be like a stationary spreader, it's like septic spreader. But I struggle to call it area denial. It is just area bombing, right?
Yeah.
Like the area isn't denied because then the bombs aren't there long enough. The area is just death. And if if it's aiming at you, which it probably is, you're dead.
You're
I'm
dead.
not sure if it like shoots even if you're not there anymore, right? Because I mean, I don't know, because you know with the normally it will like aim you up, and if you leave, you leave. It's kind of like I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But like he will just shoot anyway, and if you're like nearby, still he'll blow you up. I don't know. I haven't experienced enough of them yet, I think, but they are currently my biggest sore spot, which I always saw coming. I hate the spitballers. I didn't think I would like this new guy, but he is even worse than I thought it would be, and even more like seriously deadly, concerningly deadly. Considering I thought just supposed to be crowd control. He's just a large crowd controlling guy. He's not supposed to kill you, and yet he is like probably my highest death rate of the new enemies, which I think moves on to the next
blood.
Guy. Yeah, apart from Crawler Blood as well.
Yeah, so okay, the Vartok Scale Bramble.
I find him difficult to die to. He's not an overwhelming presence, but also you need to take him out immediately, right? Because his fire while being in bursts is non-stop, right? Yeah. It's like an immortal menace, essentially, being on the top of the ceiling. But it's not the end of the world because he doesn't hit often, and even when it does, it's not that strong.
No, it's not too bad. I think the Vartok is pretty well done, in my opinion. I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised at it, actually. I thought it was going to be a bit too simple, and it is quite simplistic because it's really just a downscaled Corlock, but with more like variety actually in placement, though, I suppose, because it's like exclusively on walls and ceilings. Actually, so far, exclusively on ceilings, I would say.
Yeah, I've never seen it on a wall.
Yeah. And the way that the weak points lead off from it have been a combination of, easy to find, but also not. Like, sometimes they have been positioned in ways that is difficult. It's like, this is a good simplification, or, this is a good, more modest version of the Corlock, which really makes it feel bad when you find out it was originally going to be a Corlock thing. Or at least I think Anders wanted it to be. Someone wanted it to be. It might not have been. It might not have actually been that at any stage, but it could have been. But it's a good like simplification of that gameplay, right? Like it is like a mini Corlock. And like a so mini Corlock. Like it represents that in terms of strength and how long it takes to take it down and whatnot.
Its ability to dominate a room, I think, as well, right? Like you walk into that room, it's a Vartok room now. You need to deal with the weak points. I've never been more thankful for scouts, because I'll like kind of look at the trails in the sky. I'll get any of the ones that are in the middle, and it's like, all right, that one goes around the corner on the ceiling. I can't see or do anything about that, and I'm like, oh dear. And then a scout flies up and just goes and like gets it like instantly, and that fucker goes down like a sack of shit. So like, I don't know. It feels like as a driller main, I could see myself being royally fucked over by it if I'm on my own.
Well, his secondaries manage it fairly well. Manage the weak points quite well,
I guess. But it's more like, I don't know. I guess it's actually really just without a scout, I can see a weak point happening to spawn in a very not convenient place. Like if like the ceiling like a little to it, right, where it like you couldn't see unless you hop up there, and if it spawns in somewhere like that, then if there's not a scout involved, that thing is basically just going to gun you down like the whole time trying to get up there.
Yeah.
And I think it's only a matter of time until people start complaining about that. Not that I think anything can or will be done, but it's a problem, the Warlock has, right? Where it's just like sometimes it's just gonna get that lucky spawn and you're gonna be fucked. You're gonna not stand a chance at all.
I mean, I had a Warlock yesterday, on a mission. That was fun. I was using pump action as well at the time.
Yes, that terrible overclock.
Man, it's not though. It's not in the right situations. It is actually really. I was like really. It's like I think you can one clip an oppressor, maybe even a little bit less, and obviously definitely less for a Praetorian. It's one of those things that makes you realize how weird the differences are in like gun feel between like weak and big single targets. Like it feels much better against the big boys. Like it probably feels amazing against dreadnoughts. Like when, especially against the actual open weak point. There's like a weird discrepancy there where some things feel like really bad against oppressors, but feel like amazing against dreadnoughts. It's not one of those things because it feels great against oppressors. And the blow through worked quite well as well. And the ability to basically one shot grunts and slashers from anywhere is nice. And goo bombers, it does amazingly against. It's just a bit of a different playstyle. You have to be more choosy, which really makes it so your secondary is like limited to the shard diffractor. so yeah, it has a lot to do with accepting that you probably should be using that as your secondary.
Well, it's because, and this isn't inherently a bad thing, it's what I don't like about it, but you are turning the executioner, you're turning the primary to the low ammo, high damage weapon that your cities are normally meant to be, right? Or are unchangeably, if with both of the other two, really, right? It points out why I don't like the shard diffractor. Kind of, it's just like, I don't know, the like overclocks like Executioner and pump action. I feel like they would be fundamentally not possible or very different.
Oh, sorry, Executioner. Execution is fine. No, Execution is fine with that. Like it's like it's not as bad because you get like basically as many shots as you do with a normal like shotgun build. If you treat like a full lock on as like one shot, which you kind of should. Execution is fine. It's really things like pump action. It's mainly pump action actually. It's mainly pump action. Like I can happily use Executioner with things that aren't the shard diffractor. I'm not denying that the shard diffractor hasn't completely fucked Engineer up, because it has. Or the shard diffractor and the shredder grenades have completely fucked up Engineer. But whatever. But also not really.
Yeah, well, that's what I think about pump action. It's like, so far I've used it and it's like, yeah, still one shot grunts, or like still shoot grunts in the face, and it's like, oh, I'm out of ammo. It's like, okay, cool, thanks. Yeah, it just feels
kind of like that. It's a little bit like that.
To Engineer, where it's like, I don't know, you're now having to wait until enemies clump up with the shotgun to make use of the penetration and pellets and all that stuff. Just like, I don't know, I feel like you shoot single enemies with a shotgun, you shoot lots of enemies with your secondary, and I feel like this is not that.
Yeah, so before the pump action, before that was revealed, it's like the overclock for the Warthog, I was starting to lean towards they might take inspiration from one of the one from Survivor that the Warthog has, which is like a plasma like overclock, where it turns the pellets into plasma and they like pierce once and also bounce once. And I thought that could be like a really good thing. And also if it didn't have an ammo penalty either, that'd be like a really nice like crowd clearing Warthog that would still have a decent ammo pool. So you would like take high propellant or like a single target breach cutter, and it would make sense like ammo pool wise. I would have really liked that. And you know what? Maybe we should still have gotten it because the Warthog should have gotten 2 overclocks. That's neither here nor there. Once again, we can't speak to overclocks that much at the moment. I need to get my hands on all of them more so, because I know how to actually make builds. Because I know Like I need to get my hands on crystal nucleation, for example. I think it's important.
Is that
it's the cryo cannon one. Yeah, I think it's important that I use that as well. I don't think having just only you be the only one person with a perspective on it is wise.
I think my unbiased take at Overclock. I mean, I do intend to give it a revisit, but I don't know. It's just like I don't get the point. I still don't get the point. It still feels like they were just like, the flamethrower had sticky flames. And I think, the logic of the cryo cannon as alternate fire modes paid off for the flamethrower. It got what I do think could be its best overclock. But I think the cryo cannon, it needed something that, I don't know, actually changed it for the better as a weapon, rather than now it freezes when you shoot the floor. It's like, cool, great, fantastic. Love shooting the floor. Love all the enemies that are on the floor nowadays. So many of them.
It doesn't feel very inspired, does it? It feels like it feels very narrow-minded. That one. It
feels like they tried putting thought into it, or like putting more into it. Like they had to like change the right to make it work, and you can turn it into a damaging spike. But to be honest with you, I would have just maybe if they were to really like the shooting the ground idea, I would have said make it hard damage. I think that might have been an interesting route where it essentially doesn't freeze, but it's like a wall of like severely serrated, and it's like it's the damaging way of using the cryo cannon, because obviously the other one isn't. Of course, fucking called. What
Guys,
is it called?
Don't bully him. He can't help being wrong. Ice Storm.
Ice Storm, isn't
it?
Yeah. Which, I mean, hell, for all I know, put on the damage mod, it might actually be good at damaging. I didn't try that.
Well, let's have a look at the numbers, because I know that it's quite substantial, because I think they constructed it to make sense according to how many mods of each there are. There's there's 2 freezing power mods and only 1 damage mod, and I think that's been taken into account. So where is it? Crystal nucleation. Okay, so the freeze power ones add 8 freezing power each, which is more than you can get from the damage. But the damage mod adds 12 DPS. It goes from 24 to... So the DPS of the crystals is 24 at base and goes up to 36 if you take the mod. So it's a decent increase.
Good health, know that? Like a grunt. How much like health is a grunt?
Grunt. Well, it should kill a grunt in 3 ticks. It should.
Right, which is almost guaranteed, really, right?
Well, not 3 ticks, 3 seconds. That was DPS. It should kill a grunt in 3 seconds of contact.
Right.
Not ticks.
Isn't too impossible.
No.
And it would also still be freezing, so there's something there. I think, honestly, yeah, probably I shouldn't try that, because I just assumed freezing, but that might not be the best way of using it.
Well, it depends on if it works with fragile or not. So if it does, it could actually be quite good.
Probably. Wait, I mean, direct damage, though, isn't that?
Well, damage and fragile don't have too much interaction, really. It's just based on, like, hitting every time an enemy is, like, hit while frozen. There's a chance that they just break after a certain, like, threshold of health. It's, like, it's kind of weird.
The spike counts as hitting, then fragile is pretty... There's a pretty good chance of that.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
I wouldn't fragile, because I think the benefit of it is that you would be able to lay down the freezing, zone, then switch to your secondary. So as soon as stuff starts freezing, you're already there ready. Unlike, with normally you switch to the cryo or the secondary after everything's frozen and then clean up from there. This one you would actually be able to be prepared with the secondary, allowing for a Sabata to be more used, to be honest. Because then you would have time to shoot them as they kind of get frozen. I don't know. I think there's some hope for it. At least I might be coping, but I think ultimately it's just the problem with the cryo cannon, where it's like, if you're doing anything other than just shooting it and freezing it, you could be doing more. Like you could be doing more, which is that. The most optimal way of using it is always the simplest, just freezing something as quickly as humanly possible. That is the main goal of the cryo cannon.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see. And I haven't used the sludge pump one yet. Although I have been thinking about it. I didn't know that it wasn't just the sludge that blows up. I don't know if you've actually read it.
Yeah, I know how it works. I know how it works.
Yeah, it's the that are totally. It looks like it's just going to be more fun than it is good. Even if it's good, it's more fun than it is that.
Well, I've seen that it's actually surprisingly good at single target damage, because every puddle is an explosion, no matter what. So you can get catch a Praetorian in a charge shot of puddles, and it goes off. It's pretty much kills it immediately. I've seen. Honestly, you might be right. It might be more fun than good. It doesn't change my main problem with that overclock, in that there's only one way to activate it if you're playing by yourself. And even then, you still have to rely on your teammates having fire. So, I don't know.
Yeah, or them having fire over, because they'll blow up your entire pool of...
I've got an idea that I think makes sense. I think it should be able to be ignited by heat or other explosives. Which means that explosive reload could activate it. And, more importantly, I think this makes sense. Okay. I think the wave cooker should be able to do it if you take the temperature shock mod. That could be kind of funny, and a way for the wave cooker to do it.
The other one, the one where it's like if there's hot, it makes it hotter. That one,
just the first temperature one that's in tier 3. Yeah, maybe that as well. I just don't see any real reason to limit it. It does seem quite strong, but it also seems overkill at the same time. I don't think limiting it to one EPC build is quite justified.
Yeah, which that is actually the main problem I was struggling with.
Yeah,
finding an EPC that I was willing to make fire. In the end, I got rid of my really, really, really stupidly bad EPC, which is kind of sad. On the one that I can basically shoot more than half of the entire mag without it overheating. And it just doesn't. It doesn't overheat. It doesn't fucking care for all of it, and it does no damage. It's completely pointless, but I really enjoyed it. I had to get rid of it because I didn't have. I couldn't. Because there wasn't. I needed a EPC with fire, or a build that wasn't against the Dreadnought, which I guess apparently that is good single target damage against the Dreadnought. That's probably not too bad, is it?
Yeah, I actually seen someone do that, and it was like, oh, that seems pretty good. It seems like you should probably wait for the sludge to do as much damage over time as possible before you do that in that context, but it still seems fairly strong.
Cash it in.
Yeah. And also there's the fact that, you can be probably stupidly efficient with it by just using either one shot on a grunt or on the floor, and that's an incendiary grenade almost in one puddle. And you can probably be pretty crazy efficient with that. It really is just the way you activate it. I don't know if I actually spoke this suggestion into existence, but I kind of wish it took after the barrage infector and just turn the sludge into timed explosives. That might have been a lot more fun and simplistic. But maybe that'd be competing with the volatile impact mixture. I don't know. But I think that's enough overclock talk, really.
That's basically all we can do, really. Now it's like,
yeah, I don't know.
that's it for me. That's all I've played.
More Surrounds is pretty good. No one's surprised. No one's surprised.
Yeah.
No one's surprised.
That's what I've seen the most people using, which is always scary.
Yeah. I mean, I think the main thing we really need to talk about now is cosmetics and stuff. Actually, I was surprised at how genuinely funny the twerking is. And I want to explain, because I was expecting to just be like, you know, I don't know, I was expecting to just sigh at it. Let's be like, okay. That's what I expected my reaction to be. And it basically was. But then I started looking at it more, and I was like, this is so over the top. And like, the animation is so vigorous. It just became funny the more I looked at it. It just became...
And you can tell if they kept it up for more than like a couple seconds, they'd start sweating. Like how hard they're like fucking twerking.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so aside from that, I want to talk about cosmetics because I was very ready, and I think I still will, very ready to praise the fact that they've really gone above and beyond to add a lot of shit for us to unlock. But I found myself just not thinking about that stuff for some reason. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's good that I'm just thinking about the other actual content. But so far, I haven't paid any attention to my performance pass level or anything like that. I just haven't been thinking about it. It's weird.
There is some seriously good and some seriously shoddy stuff, I think, which is the usual. I think I really think that the quality of the pass is average, which isn't bad. But it just means, you know, you have your random like goggles with a bunch of tech thrown on it for some reason, which has happened like every season. They just have like a helmet or goggles where they just add tons of tech for some reason. They got one of those, or maybe even two. They got some cool full masks, like the one that you really like at the end.
I think they're very cool. I think they're all good. Those ones, those three main ones: Piston Head,
the full masks are solid.
The Darth Vader one, and then Forge Lord.
The hair color. Yeah, they got their generic hair color, which this one really is generic. Which at this point in time, I don't blame them for picking. Like, I mean, this, I think, in all fairness, this is just actual blonde.
Yeah, pretty
blonde
much
is yellow.
Yeah. This is like actual blonde.
Actually added blonde. So I didn't think about it, but I think they have actually added something good. But they've done their cheeky one as usual. Like, you know, last time it was the blue hair, shoving it at the end. No eyebrows. Shaving off your eyebrows will take 83 levels of the pass to fucking achieve. Shaving off your eyebrows takes 83. And it's, of course, you cheeky fuckers. But there is something really, really new that they've done, and they've got like 3 of them. I don't know if you paid attention to them.
Oh! Can I guess? Well, okay, so 3.
Yeah,
3 different things.
Pretty sure 3.
Well, there's the candle, beard, and mustache.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. That's like a set, a nice Blackbeard set.
Okay, now I'm confused.
Right, I think 1 is in the script pass, and then 2 are throughout the season pass. Maybe I think.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so the stubble.
Yeah, literally just that all texture on the face, which that is, I think, inherently new. Right? None of them, like, it's like, I don't know, like the eyebrow, like it's like just a flat texture. I mean, it seems, I'm not sure how it works with like the color of the hair. It looks like it's just this like smooth pad of color on their face, which I hope it isn't quite like that. Maybe there's a rougher texture you can only really see once you've got it.
Yeah, once you actually put colors on it.
If you can, it is hair colored. I can probably find out actually. I'll probably get it on the script one, but either way, I know I will probably use at least one of them because I know dwarves like a smaller, tighter thing, and it does seem generally there's more smaller beards Like they haven't. I'm not sure they added a single big beard.
No,
like a full one.
No.
Which...
Oh, do you know what I didn't? I guess I can't. I think I'm mid-mission, so I can't really look. I don't think there's a Bosco framework in the past.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there. Yeah. Now there is one in the DLC.
Two in the DLC.
There's two. So that's weird. Yeah, the DLC is really interesting because the DLC is really good, except from the fact that, and this is the weird thing about it, the paint job is actually good. It's just really similar to the Supporter 2 pack. That's the only problem with it. Apart from that, the armor, especially for Engineer and Scout, my goodness. And the helmet's amazing as well.
Honestly,
but
I am not a fan of the. I don't know. I've had them on all my dwarves. I've just been like, nah, not really. That ain't doing nothing.
Whatever.
But
you're free to be
the helmet, full face mask. I like he.
Yeah, I think both are quite good. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a great fucking helmet. But yeah, the Bosco thing is kind of strange because it's the first DLC to have a Bosco framework in it. But it's also got two, and I'm glad it's got two because the helmetless version is much better. Because but it's also got two. It's also got a paint job for each, which is something I've never. That doesn't exist in any other context. It's like
different paint because it took off its helmet. It's really, really weird. But it's I mean, it's DLC. Fuck it, we paid for this. I guess we get two Bosco skins and frameworks.
Yeah, why not? But if there's not one in the past, then that's kind of a bit iffy, you know.
They moved it into the paid stuff.
Basically, yeah.
I think ultimately though, it's Bosco. I think. If you're someone who actually plays with Bosco regularly, you probably have bought all the DLC. I think that's something I had in my head, probably just because of you. But I think if you play the game solo often, you are a level 1000 plus. I think if you can stomach the game on your own, consistently, you would have gotten the DLC. I think that's something. I think people that have no friends, they don't tend to play the game for long. I don't think. People that are forced to play solo on their own, I don't think last that long.
Have I not been forced to?
You've probably played a quarter of your time played, maybe half. Well, I mean, I'm level 600, right? So, I probably played on my own for 200 of that. So we'll say 400 of your levels. Maybe 500.
Okay, yeah, so they actually have the details on the passes on the wiki. And no, the Season 5 Performance Pass doesn't have a Bosco framework.
Alright, well that means we got sue them, I think, for under-delivering on this free update. That's unacceptable.
I had a dream that the updates cost 60 quid.
We dream about everything to do with Deep Rock. It's not new information.
No. And yeah, obviously we've got a bunch of other cosmetics too. In every loot pool, and I appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
There is the another one that seems like people must have requested at some point that someone added for the welding mask. They added one with hair now.
Yeah, but it's welding mask with hair. What hair? The hair it has with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Isn't what people want.
I know, but look, there's not much is going to change in that front at this point. But I think we have to accept the things the way they are.
At this point in time, the cosmetic system isn't getting remodeled. On the bright side, I had a thing on, and now he has hair. So congrats for that guy. He now owns hair, and has a welding mask. I'm surprised he didn't add one where they got it down as well. I feel like people would have been asking for that. Because I don't know, why wouldn't there be one where they've actually got the mask on? But either way, and I don't remember basically any of the other looks. Probably just more stupid techie stuff where they add pipes and bits and bobs.
Yeah,
to goggles.
Did you see the moustache where it's like bullets?
Bullets?
So no. You didn't. No, it's kind of shit. I really don't like it. It's a pretty.
I don't think they have added a moustache that looks good in a season pass.
What about the candle one?
What about the candle one? Wait until you get it. I bet
right.
it won't look.
Moustaches have kind of been like locked in basically since the beginning. It's just like here's like decent ones. We've got a small one, we've got a big one, we've got like a thin one, and that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah, I just need more like meaty moustaches, but they just haven't added any, and now we're not going to get any for fucking decades.
Decades.
Well, yeah, think about it in the way that these are the cosmetics we're going to be sitting with for like the next year and a half minimum.
We're not talking about that right now.
No,
that's its own thing.
We're
literally not letting it. Literally, we're not allowed to. I don't think. I think that's wrong. What's I going to mention? Skin colors.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird that they added a bunch by default though, like out of nowhere, kind of weird.
It's so far. I mean, the ones that they added, I mean, they're just kind of like more actual skin colors, right?
Yes,
like, they really were like. It's kind of like a lot of them were kind of just desaturated, like the normal one, but like slightly different. Like you mentioned, the one of the darker ones are like blue.
It's like really dark. Yeah, it's like really weirdly dark. Like, that's not what. There actually isn't anyone who looks like that.
What they just been. Well, there's one of my dwarves now, because he was already dark blue, so it really worked out like that. And then I added some of the other ones, like my army guy. He used to have like a bit of a tan, but now he's got like a desaturated look.
Oh,
withered.
He's a withered old man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this, like weird, they literally added more default skin colors than there were originally.
Yeah.
Which is the funniest thing about it. And then the ones in the store are pretty good, even though it's just red, blue, green. Just like, but like very powerful red, blue, green. Which makes the red the more standout one because there wasn't a red skin. I mean, they kind of.
I also think the green one sucks major cock and balls because the nose is a lighter color than the rest of it, so that it looks like it's like paint that they just didn't really bother putting on the nose. It looks really bad. Like I was down to make like an orc or ogre or whatever they wanted, like a goblin look, but not with that skin color. It looks terrible.
Oh, I want to point something out. Something that my biggest criticism is for the Driller Mark 6 armor. So basically, with the Driller Mark 6 armor, you used to be able to, when you had it sleeveless, it would still have these armbands on like the upper arm from the armor. They're gone now, and it looks much worse. That was the best look of that armor. It looks worse now that it's completely sleeveless. It looked worse when you had the sleeves on. So I changed it to Order of the Deep because it's like they ruined the armor basically for me. I was actually really annoyed by that because it was like I was like that was like really nice, unique look with like the armbands basically, but it's still sleeveless.
I really forgot that there was even Mark 6 armor.
Well, yeah, it hasn't. But it hasn't been in like the patch notes at all.
No.
Even though every other cosmetic, like they actually have outlined every other cosmetic they added.
They're actually like out now.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It might not be. You don't know. No one's commented on it. Like no one like new has mentioned it being there, or vice versa. Like someone mentioning it not being there because they somehow knew that it should have been, but didn't get it at the time. So that's kind of strange. And of course, they added the other stuff. I mean, the thing about the weapon maintenance paint jobs, it really was a pleasant surprise that they added 3 of them. But last time we got them was an update separate from a season, right? I can't really find I'm not thinking about weapon maintenance at the moment at all. It really stood out in the November update because it was the only thing to do was to earn maintenance paint jobs. So it has kind of been swept under a little bit.
No, it's just what it is, right? It's just another layer of stuff, another reason to use weapons you don't normally use. That's still persisting. Like if I wanted all of them, I'd really actually have to use shot deflector, right?
Ooh, ooh. Oh, do you wanna talk about the biggest criticism? Do you remember what this is? Think about when we were playing. What the thing we picked up on was like the thing that we disapprove of the most. I won't let this last long, by the way. I'll give you like 10 seconds or something.
Well, all I remember is the rollout thing. I don't remember anything else.
No on-screen effects.
Yeah. Well, people actually aren't happy with it.
Oh no, we're not, right?
Oh, us. I thought you meant like the biggest compliment generally.
Oh, I said criticism. Kind of. Look, the reason why is because main reason, completely pointless. That's the biggest problem with it. Which is no disrespect to the person who did it, by the way. It's more so the decision behind it I question because there was no reason to do this, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think anyone had even the remotest issue with these on-screen effects, and it's only been jarring and or a downgrade in certain cases, like the
web
webs.
Effect doesn't render in for like most of its effect, and it's just a white blur across your screen, and then all of a sudden it's a really highly textured web like PNG like on top of your screen.
Yeah,
like, and I do genuinely. I would say it's a downgrade on all fronts. It's more distracting. That seems to have been their goal. Actually, I think they wanted them to take up more of your screen, which is the opposite of what I think any normal person would have wanted. So, all in all, is actually a downgrade. Like, game has gotten worse in that regard. The status effects are more distracting and annoying. Even just upgrades or whatever, right? Like shield boost. I like being shield boosted.
I haven't experienced it. I haven't experienced that.
The bleeding as well.
I haven't been shield
when
boosted.
we first saw it. It was in the bloody sugar mission. So I assumed it was just like sugar effect. Is what it's actually whenever you get like attacked, like a huge amount of blood effect sprays on your screen, and it feels tacky as well, to be honest with you. Which, I mean, sorry, whoever made it, but like, I don't know, it doesn't look good.
No,
right? No, like it doesn't blend in at all. It's like a lot more vibrant than the game. It looks like it's just literally like a PNG someone has popped in front of the screen between you and the game. I don't know. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel good.
What does feel good is being able to tweak the lifetime of enemy ragdolls.
Which apparently was needed.
Yeah.
Even without more enemies, the game started running worse.
We actually haven't really talked about Hazard 5 Plus.
Because we haven't really done it.
No, but I think it's been so far so good. So the more enemies thing, it's objectively noticeable, but do you still think maybe it should be like more extreme? Because you kind of mentioned it's like not that much more. It is noticeable, even with only up by one. I still notice it quite like it's quite noticeable. It's also more nuanced than you think because it increases the amount of veteran enemies. So there's actually like more like guards and stuff. So it's actually not just like hordes of grunts.
More wardens. That was like when we ramped everything up to max just as soon as we unlocked them. That was the biggest takeaway for me, other than the pure speed of like regular grunts.
Well, yeah,
like,
we did it on we did it on the easiest mission possible, basically. Not literally. The easiest mission possible would have had like critical weakness on it, or volatile guts would have been the most probably one of the easiest ways to do that, because everything would have just died immediately.
I wouldn't have said so, but I think they'd survive each other's explosions, and because of how quick they are, they'd like always kill you in the explosion because they're always going to be right next to you.
Okay, basically we did it on a minimum length egg hunt, and we just got completely decimated.
Regular ambush, survived but barely, and then just not even an ambush, just killed us, like some remnants, or just an enemy.
Which is good, because that tells me, because of how extreme that was, that tells me that you can basically treat each stage as their own. They're like hazard 6 and 7, basically. That's what that tells me.
Yeah.
Obviously, the way it works definitely doesn't encourage that. I've been playing in a weird way. I've been having it +1 more enemies, +1 player vulnerability. That's become my standard for some reason. Which if I was hosting in multiplayer, I wouldn't subject you to player vulnerability. I don't think that's fair. But that's what I've been doing so far, and it's been nice actually.
It's actually basically the opposite of Hazard 5, but generally I play with Harry. We play Hazard 5. I play on my own, which obviously hadn't been occurring recently, but whenever it does, of course I got the hiccups. I never have the hiccups.
Hit yourself with the chest.
I play on 4, and this time around I've been playing at Hazard 5. I'm actually on my own or with randoms who join me, because I can actually be the host now thanks to I don't have dog shit internet. Yeah, thanks to not having dog shit internet. Basically, yeah, I just play Hazard 5 now, which is handy and also slightly annoying because I couldn't play the max difficulty when it was the max difficulty. Now that it's like not even close, maybe. Now I could all of a sudden play it.
Yes. But basically, what I'm saying is, so far so good. But at the same time, I don't want Ghost Ship to think of Hazard 5 Plus as a static new difficulty, because it's so obviously not. That's why it's a system where you can pick and choose, which is why I want to reiterate my suggestion of adding more features to it, more factors to manipulate, like elite enemies. But yeah, basically, I'm just saying, I think it's a system that should be expanded upon because it's designed. It feels like it was designed to be. I don't want them to forget about it, like they tend to with certain systems.
You really want it to be like more of like a heat system, don't you? Where there'll be like,
yes, I do,
8 to 10 different things.
Yeah, there was like a guy on the Reddit like yesterday who was like basically outlined a bunch of points. Like, he's a new player. He outlined like 7 big points that he didn't quite understand, like the reasoning behind, and some of them were valid, but the one that was really weird was like, what's the point in playing on high difficulties? It was like, is there like a different reward system other than just getting more credits and XP? It's like, why would you do it? And then everyone was just like, because it's a challenge. It's like, it's really hard to explain in a way that makes like total sense, because it feels so inherent,
like, as a person, you either have that or you don't, really, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you either see the point in testing. You either see the point in testing yourself, or you don't. You just see.
Yeah, like, or you see the point in like progress means increasing difficulty. And that's just how it works. Like,
yeah,
like the only way to move forward is to make it harder. But yeah, some people might not think that way, and that person is one of them.
Yeah. Anyway,
this is the longest we've ever had hiccups. I literally never have hiccups.
Yeah, you do.
When?
All the time.
That's a lie.
You have hiccups when you're getting when you're getting surrounded by crystal, by the Armor and Heartstone.
That was a segue.
We can keep it brief.
Do you want to know my and ask her opinion on that? Because I've done more than one now. Because the fucking escort duty was on my promotion assignment as well. The mission has not changed in how playable it is, as in it is just as unfun as it always has been, except playing it with idiots is now worse because they completely destroy Doretta by sitting on it and repairing it.
There's something about this new attack that for some reason is making people's brains switch off. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen more than one post of people talking about being in a setting with 3 other players who they know and are talking to, and none of them can figure out what's going on. They don't know why Doretta's getting immediately killed. They don't.
It's literally because it was just this little. I mean, the thing is he was. I joined their game. I think it was a Hazard 4, and he was like Hazard. I don't know, like he Hazard, but he was like probably not even promoted. I don't think. But he was just sitting on Doretta's main body, just repairing it, and just like I just noticed here, like the left armor gone. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I'm like jumping off somewhere else, and it's like right armor gone. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I just see like this dude just sitting on it, just repairing, and just the Doretta getting absolutely torn apart. Because I don't know how much it destroys the left and right ones. It could be instantly, but the middle one it puts it down by like 45%. One of the things spawning in it. Like you cannot out repair the damage it does. So like if it keeps hitting the better, like better will die first.
Is that unfair? Now here's the thing. I think it's not, right? And I also think it's a good idea. I think the idea of an attack that basically forces you off Doretta is a good idea. And the truth of it is, it's going to expose a lot of people for being really fucking dumb. Because you should be able to learn that attack after one instance of it happening.
The thing is,
and that should be punishing enough. And people should just. But the thing is, people don't pick up on things like that for some reason. Like they just kind of don't.
It is both good and annoying because I know it's trying to, like, one of the biggest problems that I think I noticed is that the game mode in its entirety, other than I guess refueling, really encourages standing still. Right?
Yeah.
Like it really doesn't encourage like going anywhere. Just sit on Doretta while it's moving, shoot at bugs, then I guess refuel for a little bit, and then come back to Doretta, sit on it, go to the Omerin, and then sit like I don't know on your platforms with your turrets if you're an engineer, or someone will sit on Doretta. Like it's just a sitting game mode. And I think their goal with the thing is to get people moving and getting people off Doretta, which is both good because it encourages some actual action, and bad because I don't want to do anything in that fucking game mode. I don't want to have to run around and play stuff. I just want to sit there and go on my phone and shoot stuff without moving. Like I don't want to actually engage with the game mode.
We understand that. I hope we understand that's why it's bad. Though. That's not a good thing. Yeah. You shouldn't want to do that. You shouldn't want.
No.
And I suppose it actually really, it doesn't help Escort Duty that this change was made. Like Escort Duty was highlighted in an update that added deep scan, you know, which is such a tour de force in how to make a new good deep rock mission. So Escort Duty only gets highlighted even more like punishingly, I guess.
The thing is, it has like the same thing, which is pretty interesting, but it uses it in the complete opposite. Right. The Drill-Evator, you know, the comparisons between that and Doretta are pretty obvious. Vehicle moves with big drill in only really one way, but while Doretta is generally going horizontally, I mean sometimes it likes going like straight down. We've all seen those videos,
wait till we get sideways Drill-Evator. I mean that's when things are going to really shake up.
But yeah, it kind of changes like. You know, you sit on Doretta because you'll get damaged and you need to repair it, and it's just easier than running after it because there's no reason to be anywhere else, essentially. But with the Drill-Evator, you can't move, right? You are sitting on the Drill-Evator, but it's not like, I don't know, bad gameplay. It is, you are stuck there, right? You need to fight to not get consumed in the elevator. That kind of angle, if you know what I mean.
But you can put turrets on it.
Yeah,
really, good shit.
Yeah.
Well done on that front.
I mean, they would have had to have, or engineer wouldn't have been fucking like usable in that game mode.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't used proximity mines in it yet. I assume they'll be quite good. So would any kind of sticky,
so far,
any kind of sticky attack. So shard fractor, flamethrower, all that stuff.
Yeah, I've only ever had the sludge pub, and it is not gone well for me. I just keep getting hit by my own sludge. It lands on my head.
Yeah, sludge pump's probably the worst because of the way it works. Like because the stuff comes out of a single point.
It doesn't go well, which is a shame, but it's also still goes fine enough, really.
Yeah, honestly, like combustive goo mix is probably better on there because you can just do individual blobs at a time and not have them fall on you. One blob, blow it up. Yeah. One more thing, I think, because I don't think we need this to be. This actually doesn't need to be a ridiculously long episode. It shouldn't be. We haven't played it that much. It's really just first impressions. What this is. So I guess there's the thing that we haven't engaged with at all, which is season selection. Which,
in all fairness, I don't think we're the only ones. I mean, scrolling through the game feed, I don't think I've ever seen anyone not playing season 5.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like
that makes sense for a while, right? That's not that weird. Yeah. It's not that.
No, I mean, who's gonna go and progress like another season while the new one's like right here?
Yeah.
Right? Like it doesn't make any sense. Especially since we're like a couple days in. They're not going to be trying other things.
Also, but I think I've seen enough complaining about the fact that all of the cosmetics have been moved back into seasons to. I've seen enough of that, I think, to make a point. I think all of that stuff should be go back into the other pools when you're playing unseasoned. Basically. And I don't know if that would cause some weird conflicts, but there's been enough complaining for that to make sense. I don't think that doesn't make sense. I mean, what else? If you want to play unseasoned all the time, you're going to run out of stuff to unlock at some point.
It does beg the question, like, because people were complaining about them being too bloated, right? And now people are complaining that they're back in the past, and it really just seemed that like.
Yeah, but Tyler, we're in a situation where we might be able to actually just have both, if they do that. Like we can have our cake and eat it too.
That sounds really. Obviously, only they'd know, but
yeah.
Still.
So if we are stuck with the black and white options, like so, it's either this or that. This is better, right? I think this is better. I think well, you have to.
It's better for playtime.
Yeah, it's not better for the people who still for some reason think that it resets your performance past levels. There's a number of people who haven't like caught on that it doesn't do that. That it does remember where you are.
They just haven't gone back and checked.
Yeah.
Which, in fairness, we haven't gone back and checked either.
That's true. But... I mean, I didn't claim all of my my season 4 credits. I still need to do that. There's actually something I want to show you. Actually, you can show yourself if you want, but if you switch to either season 1 or season 2, and just have a look around.
My Xbox isn't on.
Oh well.
How am I to do that? What are you yapping about? Why are you not saying anything? This is a podcast. The one thing you've got to do is say stuff. That's the one goal.
Don't bring that up because we've been doing fine. Don't bring up weird meta shit. No, so they basically made it so that there's decorations befitting of season 1 and 2 all around the space rig, which made me realise that there wasn't originally. I mean, there were some changes, but not like. So the main thing, I've seen some stuff. The main one, the coolest one, they have like a prospector hanging from the ceiling, like towards the windows, which I thought was pretty cool. I haven't actually looked at it in game, but yeah, there's a nice little set dressing there. But this is why I'm annoyed that you brought up podcasting, because I think we're going to end it now anyway. So it's right towards the end. and you're like, no, podcast about it. We've done fine because it's over now, I think.
Is that really everything? Or at least like everything we've engaged with?
Yeah.
Event, game mode. I mean, I guess we did game mode. Probably not as much as it feels like we should have.
Yeah, but that's fine.
The game mode,
Look, we'll basically do this again, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily next time, but like we will. I mean, this is first impressions. And those are our first impressions. I mean, I guess there's the idea of what's our actual overall take, but that's probably not. That's probably what you want to avoid doing in your first impressions.
No, you do it in the first impressions, and then you deeply regret it the next time you talk about it.
I don't think I'm going to regret it. Well, look, I mean, I think it's been pretty clear the stance here, which is, I don't know, really good.
Yeah.
Not like.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's not actually pristine. It's not like the most perfectly shaped pearl of an update I've ever seen. But it's up there.
With what they added, there was only one that they could have altered, and that's the game mode, and it isn't bad. It's quite good, that is something that could age poorly, because I remember actually initially liking escort duty for like the first couple of times, but I don't see that happening this time. But we'll see. But like, yeah, it doesn't seem like they fucked up the game mode, and ultimately that is literally the only thing that they needed to not fuck up. Honestly, like more of the overclocks than not could be shit, and it still wouldn't be the end of the world.
No,
right?
No. Oh, actually, there's a weird.
I mean, Duck and Cover is probably going to be a nightmare.
Yeah,
we haven't done that yet.
Yeah. There's a weird thing I want to say about overclocks. I don't know if you agree with this. I think overclocks like this, they would have all gone down better if they actually already existed. If you know what I mean. Like, these are not as like special, I think, as perhaps they made them out to be. If we already had all these overclocks, we would have gone through like the process of figuring out which ones are good or bad. But now they're like, it's literally just these 12 overclocks, one per weapon, to hyper focus on. It really makes the worst ones stick out in a way that probably wouldn't have done if they were just pre-existing, just already added.
Right, a lot of pressure behind them that they probably weren't really.
Yeah,
they are above and beyond like most of the ones we've had so far, right? Like mortar rounds. Like that is pretty revolutionary as far as overclocks go.
Yeah.
But it's still like the one overclock for that weapon, and none of the secondaries are getting any. It's
call back to my idea. So if there was like 2 per weapon, way less pressure on each one. Way less. Substantially less. And I think that the Stubby basically got this, by the way, with turret art getting reworked. That's the more interesting one. And then it just got like a weak point focused, balanced overclock. That's basically what all of them should have gotten, except with a new
I've only seen
overclock.
one using the Stubby, and he was using the shooting the platform one.
It's good, by the way. It's really good. It's really efficient. It's like pretty crazy efficient. Like killing groups of enemies. So yeah, good job on that.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think at the very least the game is playable again because there's new content. I think we really need to. I mean, time will tell whether or not even all of this was enough, right? For the time it took and the time it will take moving forward.
Nothing can quite be enough, but that is certainly not what we're talking about today. I think perhaps
that will be a later one.
Well, I don't know. It could be. I don't know. Maybe that could be a bit more of what the next episode is about, potentially. And then we go from this to that, and then like a more experienced review of season 5 after that. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think we need to keep this pretty light and light-hearted.
Light and breezy.
Light and light-hearted. And I think that is why
there was never going to be any, dark, deep subject matters because they never really messed around with any of it, except the distinct lack of loadout slots. I genuinely,
we got to be careful, Tyler, because you could be invoking spite by like being this I don't know, annoying about
shit.
I don't give a shit either.
And I think I'm being less annoying about it than other people are. But like, no, everyone wants it. Even said that it wouldn't be that hard. I don't think we're getting it. Right? They haven't added anything like that this late in. They only added patch. Right? It's like, I don't know. It's upping bullshit. That's what it is. But other than that, fun.
It's completely pointless to refreshing. Not do it. It's really annoying, actually. I'm gonna be honest. It's just like you're not shooting yourself in the foot, but it's a similar principle. You have no good reason to not. You can only lose by not doing it. You only have something to gain.
Everything they've kind of been doing season 5 indicates that they would have done this without even needing a reminder, and then we know they've gotten a reminder, which in all fairness we know because it was in our comments, but we know Anders knows, and he said he would bring it up, and so I mean we're led to believe that they actually said no.
Yeah, which is like really frustrating. It's like
request that would have only a benefit everyone.
It's if that is true. I don't. That would be the darkest aspect of all of this. Them actually making the creative decision to not add more loadout slots, and that would be like just so obtusely anti-player, just for no good reason. Just for
it really is like there is no way I'm going to be able to continue playing like longer than a couple, like a month or two, if they don't add loadout slots. I just know it. I'm going to rapidly run out of motivation because I won't be able to make any more builds or make any more dwarves. It's a simple fact of the matter. I'm going to run out of things to do and run out of reasons to do things because I'm not going to have enough loadout slots. It is a fact. I know it. And I've actually played the game now, and I'm already experiencing that. I'm sitting there like, with the new book, like I have to use this, and like I'm going to be destroying a build I previously had, or like changing it in a way I didn't want, just to cater to this one new overclock. It's like, what do I do? Not use the new overclock or ruin an old build? And it's like, why the fuck am I making this decision for this update that's supposed to last 2 years? These problems are only going to get worse, and like more, and it's really annoying. I mean, like, how have we not got a word on it? Right? I don't know if
it's also too. I am. It's like it's too trivial as well for them to like be like weirdly like coy about as well. You know, it's too trivial for that. It's like there's no reason for them to be like, oh, we don't really want to talk about that. It's like, what the fuck? What do you mean? And they haven't said that. It's really hard to get your head around, and I just can't. So, kind of feels a little bit stupid to talk about it, but it doesn't because it's equally stupid that it didn't. It's equally stupid that we didn't get any.
Genuinely, yeah. Like, I don't know. It's like it's weird that every possibly hoped and imagined, except this one thing, and we're like really pissy about it, and which it's consumer, but I don't know. It's just it makes get it. That's the problem. That we didn't get it. It is just that like there was no reason why it didn't come along with all this stuff. It was like even if we didn't know that
All right, hold on. Because stop. Because you've wanted me to. I've let you talk before when your connection has been shit, and you've gotten annoyed at me for letting you do it.
It's weird that we didn't get more loadouts. They added
Tyler, stop!
You know,
stop talking.
Was it just the they added more loadout slots? It was like, okay, then
I don't think you can hear me,
but not now. Tons of nukes. Hello.
And he either can't hear me or he's really confused.
I
Oh, you stopped a while ago. That's a bad sign. Okay, clearly we need to end this. I like the fact that you think. I mean, your internet is better than it used to be, but it really betrayed you for like the last minute, and I tried to do something about it. I tried to get you to stop. So yeah, that's another reason why we're done here, I think. And we are done here. Sorry, I keep like, ooh, what else can I say? Nothing. It's good, not perfect, really good. We'll have more to say as time goes on. As always, thank you very, very much for listening to or watching this episode of the Balvishing podcast. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to stay on top of everything, do Deep Rock Galactic and Rogue Core. Not that there's been any Rogue Core news for a really, really long fucking time, but I have to keep saying it. Hopefully that will change relatively soon. Then please click the bell as well. And of course, as always, a big thank you to our members. ? Box Fox Scoot. You keep the lights on. Anyway, I believe that's all from us. I would ask if you have any parting words, but we probably wouldn't be able to hear them.
Oh shit.
Look at that. Look at that. The Dark Knight. He looks like a seal. He looks like a seal. Because there's like no definition on his like body. There's like no detail. So it just looks like a big like weird like fin when you go like down his body. Oh, my jaw just clicked. All right. I mean, we could keep this going actually for Cat Cam, but
no, they got plenty of the cat. He's been like sleeping the whole video, hasn't he?
Cat's a cool man. And so season 5. See ya.